What if I told you Anthropic just released an AI model so powerful they had to build a safety net just to make it public? This is Claude Fable 5. And it changes everything. Anthropic has been sitting on their most capable AI model for weeks inside a restricted program called Project Glasswing. Today, they have finally opened it to the public, but with a twist. Fable 5 is Anthropic's most capable widely released model, built for the most demanding reasoning and long-horizon agentic work. It supports a 1 million token context window by default, and up to 128,000 output tokens per request. For context, that context window alone is massive. You could drop an entire novel, a codebase, or months of company logs in there and ask it to reason over all of it. Let's talk numbers. Because Fable 5 does not just beat the competition, it laps them. On SWE-Bench Pro, a benchmark for solving real software engineering tasks, Fable 5 hits 80.3%. Claude Opus 4.8 lands at 69.2%, GPT 5.5 at 58.6%, and Gemini 3.1 Pro at 54.2%. That is not a small gap. That is dominance. On Cognition's FrontierCode benchmark, which tests demanding coding tasks under production standards, Fable 5 scores 29.3%. Claude Opus 4.8 manages 13.4%. GPT 5.5 gets just 5.7%. 5.7%. GPT 5.5 is barely in the game here. Now here is what makes Fable 5 unlike anything Anthropic has released before. It is incredibly powerful, and they know it. Without safeguards, Fable 5's capabilities in areas like cybersecurity could be misused to cause serious damage. Anthropic has launched the model with safeguards so that queries on some topics will instead receive a response from Claude Opus 4.8. Anthropic conducted extensive testing to determine whether users can trick Fable 5 into providing answers it should not. They also ran an external bug bounty program with more than 1,000 hours of testing, during which no one found a universal jailbreak for the model. 1,000 hours of adversarial red teaming. 0 universal jailbreaks. That is a first. These safeguards are tuned conservatively and will sometimes catch harmless requests, though they trigger, on average, in less than 5% of sessions. So you might occasionally get routed to Opus 4.8. But you will not even be charged Fable prices for those. Benchmarks are one thing. Real-world results are another. Here is what actual enterprise users are saying. Payment processor Stripe says Fable compressed 5 months of engineering work using the model. At the highest effort, Claude Fable 5 reflects on and validates its own work. For us, that is what makes highly autonomous operations possible. The extra thinking pays for itself. Self-validation. The model literally checks its own work before returning a response. That is huge for agentic pipelines. In an internal test, Anthropic had the model play the deck-building game Slay the Spire with access to persistent file-based memory. Persistent memory improved Fable 5's performance 3 times more than it improved Opus 4.8's, and Fable reached the game's final act 3 times more often. If a model can get to the final act of Slay the Spire 3 times more often with memory, imagine what it does with your actual production data over weeks. Okay, what is it going to cost you? Anthropic is pricing both Fable 5 and Mythos 5 at $10 per million input tokens and $50 per million output tokens. The company says that is less than half the price of Claude Mythos Preview. $10 per million input tokens. $50 for output. That is twice what Opus 4.8 runs, but if you are compressing months of engineering work, the return on investment math basically writes itself. And there is a second model. Claude Mythos 5. Fable 5 ships with conservative safety guardrails for general use. Mythos 5 drops those restrictions in areas like cybersecurity and is reserved for a small group of partners. Mythos 5 shows strong performance in drug design and operates largely autonomously in genomics research. Drug design. Autonomous genomics research. This is the model powering the future of science, just not for you or me. Yet. Claude Fable 5 dropped today. It is the most capable AI model Anthropic has ever released to the public, it tops nearly every benchmark, and it comes with a safety architecture that is genuinely new. If you are building with AI, whether you are a developer, a startup founder, or just obsessed with where this technology is going, Fable 5 is the model to watch right now. Hit subscribe if you want to stay ahead of every major AI release. And drop in the comments, what is the first thing you are going to test with Fable 5?